Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the weekly update of my account, ladies and gentlemen. This is what I'm doing with money. Not financial advice, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go look at for this week, ladies and gentlemen. Basically stay flat, ladies and gentlemen. $137,355.59. Let's go to the brokerage account. Well, today, that Friday looked good. Oh, well, today looked good because since crypto been going up, ladies and gentlemen, the individual account for the week up $117.04, 0.58%, ladies and gentlemen. For the month, $2,229.56, 12.12%. Keep this monthly going up, ladies and gentlemen. We'll recover pretty soon, ladies and gentlemen. We're at 6.91%, down $1,520.07 for the 3-month year-to-date, ladies and gentlemen. Year-to-date, we're down $22.12, ladies and gentlemen, $6,863, ladies and gentlemen. Gotta get back in all overall, ladies and gentlemen. We're up $19,426.73. That's $1,862.94, ladies and gentlemen. Amazing growth, ladies and gentlemen. Man, I only put about $143 into it here, ladies and gentlemen, to make this type of money, ladies and gentlemen. What Martin Lucas investor could do that? What, $143 in 4 years, ladies and gentlemen. 4 years. Let's look at the margin use, ladies and gentlemen. Margin total is $42,215.05. We're using $10,038.79. By next week, this margin use should be under $9,000 due to the dividends we get, ladies and gentlemen. For a total of $32,176.26 could be used, ladies and gentlemen. And we're at 48.68%. Really good part. I want to be above 40%, ladies and gentlemen, at all time. Your margin buffer is 8,068.55, ladies and gentlemen. And I can add some more if I want to. And I've been thinking about adding more to XTDE, ladies and gentlemen. There'll be a video coming on this on Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen. What I think about this one, ladies and gentlemen. But, ladies and gentlemen, for the year to date, this is only down 88 cents, ladies and gentlemen. And it does pay a weekly distribution or dividend, whatever you want to call it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's look at that, ladies and gentlemen. Right, let's look at dividends, ladies and gentlemen. All right, dividends, search. All right, ladies and gentlemen, 38.42, but look at the cost, ladies and gentlemen. 15 cents this week, 17 cents last week. It does fluctuate, ladies and gentlemen, 12 cents. And because this is a cover call ETF on the S&P 500, ladies and gentlemen. And we were talking about on Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen. Check out that Wednesday video, ladies and gentlemen, on how much distribution had been paid out for the first 4 months, ladies and gentlemen, into this week or last week ending, ladies and gentlemen. But that is what I'm going to do. I might add some because maintenance on this is 25%. Think about adding $100 to this. $100, ladies and gentlemen. Maintenance use on this, like I said, is 25%. Maintenance required is $2,418.18. I got $9,673.28. Ladies and gentlemen, we're down 7.84%, ladies and gentlemen. 8234, ladies and gentlemen. And I could buy more. I could buy 32,176.26, ladies and gentlemen, buying power on this, ladies and gentlemen. And probably make some really good money, but 32,076. How many shares can you buy? I can just go with 32,000. Divided by the share price right now, that is 39.05. That's 819 shares I could add to it, ladies and gentlemen. I already got 246. You tied that by the last dividend. That was 15 cents. There's an extra 100 $20.91, ladies and gentlemen. It would take a lot to pay that off, but that's on that one, ladies and gentlemen. It averaged 15 cents. But I do have another ETF. I do have, ladies and gentlemen. Computer kind of slow today. Top W, ladies and gentlemen. And this does pay distribution. I'm down 1,823% on this one. You got 157 shares. This is a 30% maintenance. And this just pay out dividend, ladies and gentlemen, of 31 cents. This was 35 cents. 37 is fluctuate. But this is at the same price range as XTEE, ladies and gentlemen. And I could buy, let's say 32,000. And this is cheaper. You could buy more. How much can I use for buying power? 24,000. Let's say 24,000 divided by 38.23. That is 667 shares. I can round it out. 679 times 0.15. That's an extra $94 a week. Time that by 4 weeks. That's $376 a month. A month, ladies and gentlemen. Now, so we'll have to pay that off. It will take some time, but I don't want to tie up all my money, ladies and gentlemen. I'm looking at maybe doing some more puts here on some other stuff in the individual account. But I'm thinking about doing some SoFi cover calls. Now, I should have done this week. It was trading, earning, ladies and gentlemen. Have a SoFi coming out this week again. We'll talk about that, ladies and gentlemen, because some people told me this was going to $30 a share last week. No. It did not, ladies and gentlemen. It dropped on earnings. We're going to be talking about that on a separate video, ladies and gentlemen. Look, this week, $21, 1 penny. It's not worthwhile until you get down here, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm thinking about doing 18 cover call on my brokerage account in my Roth IRA, ladies and gentlemen, and make that extra $7. Might do $17.50. Just depends. I got 4 different things. I need to stretch it out. See, I can stretch out to $21. I'm going to look at it, ladies and gentlemen, and talk about that in the SoFi video. But this is all about what I'm doing in the brokerage account. Now let's go look at the retirement account. We're in traditional, ladies and gentlemen, for the week. But for the week, we're up. We're down 281.48, 32.32% down. For the month, we're up 6,074.47, ladies and gentlemen. We're $7,044, ladies and gentlemen. For 3 months, we were down 2,725.043.01. Year to date, we're down 15.2%, $15,502.04. All-time high, all-time, ladies and gentlemen, up $2,396.06, 2.86. I'm looking to get back up to this point, ladies and gentlemen, $146 and $516. When we get there, who knows, ladies and gentlemen. I do have $904.82 to mess with, but I will have the buyback. I believe it's BABA. Let me show this. I think I got all these Aspire stuff. Resolve, I did get assigned Resolve. I got $900 to spend with, ladies and gentlemen. Resolve, get assign. I think I'll have to do a Resolve bit. Resolve. Yeah, I do. I can do 2 more Resolve, ladies and gentlemen. That will be on the Resolve video to get back them 200 shares, ladies and gentlemen. Had a 250 put. 250 put. Let's see what cover call is going to be at $3. Oh, $3 put. It's 20 cents. but that could all change, ladies and gentlemen. Or do a 250, make $5. I might do that one, ladies and gentlemen, and make make 2 contracts, make $10. But that could change, and check out the result video on Friday, ladies and gentlemen. What I'm thinking about for this week. Of course, it'd be on Friday. Why I do that? Because I don't want anybody be messing with my stuff that I'm looking to get done, ladies and gentlemen, and my account. So we'll be looking at in the traditional account that looks to the Roth IRA for the week. We're down $393.64, 1.33% for the month. We're up $2,074.72, $765. For the 3 month, we are up $510.19, $178 per year to date. We're down $2,651.72, 8.32. An all-time, ladies and gentlemen, we're down $4,562.74, $13.52. All-time high for this account is on September 29, 2025. We need $45,252.93, ladies and gentlemen. We are only at 29. Need another $16,000, ladies and gentlemen. And I am building up my resolve right now. And we're going to do some, not enough to do a put. So, a put. Do I want to do a $3 put or do a $2.50 put, ladies and gentlemen? Probably do a $2.50 put. Why would I want to do a $2.50 put, ladies and gentlemen? Let's look what trading range for the week was. A 6 cents change, ladies and gentlemen. It did drop down below that $50 on April 29th before it regains, ladies and gentlemen, back up to here on May 3rd. Could be a sign, could not be. Just keep growing that money. On resolve, I need another one, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to do no cover calls, so I need to on this, ladies and gentlemen. Cause I knew I need to keep. Let me see what I got in this one. But it don't matter, ladies and gentlemen. We got $3,125. I had contributed to my IRA this year for a match of $93.75. I still got to max out, ladies and gentlemen, $5,047.45, ladies and gentlemen. And I think about might move me some money from my brokerage into here, ladies and gentlemen, and save my checking account, especially because I missed out working on Saturday because I was at ZZ Top, ladies and gentlemen. Check out my TikTok, Rasselton, ladies and gentlemen, for some great concert footage, ladies and gentlemen. But that's all I got to do on this video, ladies and gentlemen. I'll see you next week. Peace out.